AmandaLand, AmandaLand, AmandaLand. 60-second headline. And I run down some news right quick.
Run it down, mama. Put us on.
Good morning, Che.
Good morning.
I am running behind today, so bear with me. We're going to do a quick roll call to find out where these people are that are watching the show. You ready?
I'm ready.
Come on, AmandaLanders! Shooby-dooby-dooby-doo-doo-doo. Let's go! AmandaLanders here to learn. Drop in and tell us where you're coming from. It's me and Che Guerrero. We are hanging out right here at Views from AmandaLand. AmandaLanders here to learn. Hey, drop in and tell us where you're watching from. Che, where are you joining us from?
I'll say Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, Atlanta, Stockholm, Sweden, Brooklyn, New York. Hello from the island of Guam. Wow. Orlando, Florida, Portland, Oregon, Nashville, Tennessee, Central Pennsylvania, Chi-City, Forney, Texas, Cali, Colombia, Nashville, Middleton, Massachusetts, España, St. Louis, Brooklyn, Minneapolis, Philly, Decatur, Georgia, Fillmore, San Francisco, London, South Orange, New Jersey, Charlotte, North Carolina, Detroit, the occupied DMV. We got Houston, Texas. Good morning from the Bronx, Fort Worth, Texas, Tejas, Dallas, Texas, Chicago, and it's her son's birthday. Happy birthday to that old son. Yucca Valley, Sacktown, Gay Area, Newark, New Jersey, at El Aeropuerto, Columbus, Ohio, Tokyo, Atlanta, GA, St. Louis, Union City, California, Tijuana, Mexico, Hamilton Heights, Harlem, Riverside, California, the Dirty Mitten, Detroit, North Carolina. Reese is joining us in London. We got Beaumont, South Florida, Albany, New York, Colorado, Frisco, San Francisco, California, Gardena, California, Far Rockaway, Queens, Winnipeg, Canada, and Long Beach, California. AmandaLanders here to learn. Thank you for telling me where you're watching from. Marseille and Mexico City. Yay. We're international, Che.
Yo, and I love the international community that you've built. Yo, that's beautiful.
Thank you. Gracias.
Beautiful. Thank you all for watching.
Yo, it's bugged out because everyone's time zones are crazy too.
Yeah, right. People watch
So
like
I'm
2 in the morning.
still
and
definitely
stuff.
in bed, like
Somebody's at the security job just watching you.
the security job is nuts because the accuracy of that is very real. One time I went into, this is a longer story, but I was being chased by a Haitian cab driver, but that's another story for another time. But I ran into a building on South Beach. It was it wasn't a hotel, but it was like a condo building on South Beach to like get help from the security guard because my phone was dead, and he was literally sitting there watching porn. And I was like, is this the person to help me? Like, I don't necessarily think this is the best choice.
How do you run from a bad situation to a worse?
There you go. Because you're in Miami.
Yeah, that's Miami.
Because you're in Miami. Okay. It's not like you're in like Saskatchewan. You're in Miami. So the odds of this, yeah, that was a wild time. Because I got into the cab and I asked, do you take credit cards? And he was like, yes. And then when we pulled up to the hotel, he was like, no.
Okay.
And I was with my stylist, who's a little blonde white girl, Allison, and she was like, what are we going to do? And I was like, I mean, I said, sir, I don't have no cash. He's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. And I'm like, but I said, I asked you before we got in the car. He's like, well, I changed my mind because they don't like the fee on the credit card.
Yeah.
So
they're trying to take it out of you.
I was like, F that. And I started to get out the car. Your man drove off when the door was open, bro.
Oh.
The door was open. He said, skirt, skirt. We We were in a movie because both of our doors were open. It was like, whoa! So he's like, we're going to the ATM. We're going to the bank. We're going to the bank, and you're going to take the money out at the ATM.
Oh, geez.
So
He's
he's
like kidnapping at that point.
That is correctly what it is. So he pulls up to the bank, pulls up to the ATM, and I was like, I need you to get ready because we're about to run out of this motherfucking car.
Yeah.
And she's wearing platforms. And so when we pulled up, we hopped out. And we ran. And then we hid behind the building. Okay. And she's like, I was like, you need to get it to fucking together. We need to save ourselves. You need to get it to fucking together. So we're on Collins, but we're like hiding behind the building. And like, I'm waiting for him to like move. So now we like, and we go around this building and then we sprint across Collins. And do you know this broad fell?
No, of course, like it's in a movie. It's just the white chick, like, oh no. You're like, damn.
I was so mad. Like, get up! So now I'm like dragging her in her platforms. She's like, she's gonna get us killed.
Oh my gosh.
The Haitian mafia is gonna come murk us.
For $80.
For $80. So we ran into this building, this condo, to get them, because I forgot why we didn't have our phones or our phones were dead or something, but it was like we needed him to call the hotel to tell them to send the car to come get us. And this man, we walk in and we're like, and there's a different kind of panting going on.
I wasn't gonna go there. But I was like, damn.
Oh, that was the other thing. Like, he had audio.
It sounds real.
Yeah, like it wasn't. He's like, wow, surround sound. He didn't even have it on mute. That's how comfortable he was at this job. Like, it was loud enough for me able to be like, what? And then, what? Can I help you? And I was like, okay, this is what I need you to do. I had to get over that. So anyways, that was story time, y'all.
Wild.
Thank
you for sharing that.
I wonder how she's doing today. I hope she's not a Zionist.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, and you're right. A lot of friendships from when I was young to now. I'm like, damn.
Especially with comics.
I didn't want to get into that because I didn't know how much, but like that's actually what I was talking to. You know, you were talking about if it's a space you can't control, and I think for us, I'm speaking for myself. I started when I was 18. I was very unaware of, you know, the space I was stepping into, and a lot of the people that I started with have moved to the right and are part of that world that are, we don't
speak that man's name, so just know
that. I'm trying to think, but you know, it's giving air to what he's saying. It's trying to like make jokes of it or whatever, and it's just seeing that so much in the space that's supposed to be
in them.
It was in them. And it's come out, and it's also kind of taken over the comedy world. It's almost like the mainstream comedy situation that I'm finding a lot.
When I feel you, Che, I be getting out of places right on time.
Yeah. I'm also like, I'd rather just find my own community and my own rooms to play because
it's out there.
It's out there. What
are you doing this weekend?
This weekend coming up, I'm on dad time. I'm just, I have my kids every other weekend, so this is my dad weekend. Yeah.
Well, I want to connect you to some people who feel the same way, some comics that feel the same way.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, so that you guys can, because that's really what it ends up being. It's like it just pushes this. If this side is going to go this far, then we have to go as well. But I feel like there's a lot of folks that also like don't even necessarily like care either way. They're just trying to come up. And they're just willing to be a part of it because, like, whatever, like, as long as I get on.
Yeah.
Which I find even more disturbing.
I mean, I'll be honest. If one thing I can be, I used to be that sort of comedian that really aligned themselves with that. And then the second I started, seeing kids in cages back in 2017 and started speaking up, I realized, you guys are looking for a certain type of person of color that you allow in the space. And I'm just not that, But I'd rather be on this side with you.
Yay!
All day, every day. All day, every day. From Houston to Japan to Mexico City.
Listen, it's squad up. No, but I mean, like California just passed a law that you can't say anything challenging Israel in their schools, in their K through 12 schools.
Wow.
The state of California. So when I tell you, yeah, like it really is bugged out. And, you know, I don't think a lot of people understand, though, that like the comedy world, it's like a lot of it's more non-funny people than funny people. And like when you're starting out, it's a lot of not funny people whose version of funny is to just be like shocking or really what's the word I'm looking for? Just me, yeah.
It's a meanness. It's a meanness that comes from no place of humor or like empathy. It's just mean to be mean.
And they think it's funny.
They think it's funny.
It's not.
You know?
It's not. So let's get into our 60-second headlines. I don't know if you saw, because I sent you an updated list of stories, because when I woke up this morning, I saw that Jerry from Ben & Jerry's says, I'm out of here. He said, you know what? I can't be a part of this company anymore. And I'm about to read his statement for you guys. All right. So he says, it's with a broken heart that I've decided I can no longer in good conscience and after 47 years remain an employee of Ben & Jerry's. I'm resigning from the company Ben and I started in 1978. This is one of the hardest and most painful decisions I've ever made. This isn't because I've lost my love for the people at Ben & Jerry's. It's quite the opposite. The folks who show up every day in our factories, scoop shops, and offices are some of the most passionate, caring, and values-driven people you'll ever meet. They are the soul of Ben & Jerry's. What has made their work so important to me and what allowed the company to be more than just an ice cream company was the independence to pursue our values, which was guaranteed when Unilever bought the company. Are you listening? Are you listening? For more than 20 years under their ownership, Ben & Jerry's stood and spoke out in support of peace, justice, and human rights, not as abstract concepts, but in relation to real events happening in our world. That independence existed in no small part because of the unique merger agreement Ben and I negotiated with Unilever, one that enshrined our social mission and values in the company's governance structure in perpetuity. It's profoundly disappointing to come to the conclusion that that independence, the very basis of our sale to Unilever, is gone. Now, just a side note, they were silly for thinking that that would exist, but I digress. And it's happening at a time when our country's current administration is attacking civil rights, voting rights, the rights of immigrants, women, and literally everything. Like, look at this list. This sounds like when you watch those commercials and they're like, side effects include eye sweat, earworms, arm hurt. And you're like, is there any part of my body that's not going to be affected by this? Standing up for the values of justice, equity, and our shared humanity has never been more important. And yet Ben & Jerry's has been silenced, sidelined for fear of upsetting those in power. It's easy to stand up and speak out when there's nothing at risk. The real test of values, are you listening? The real test of values is when times are challenging and you have something to lose. Love, equity, justice. They're part of who Ben and I are, and they've always been the true foundation of Ben & Jerry's. From the very beginning, Ben and I believed that our values and the pursuit of justice were more important than the company itself. If the company couldn't stand up for the things we believed in, then it wasn't worth being a company at all. It was always about more than just ice cream. It was a way to spread love and invite others into the fight for equity, justice, and a better world. Coming to the conclusion that this is no longer possible at Ben & Jerry's means I can no longer remain part of Ben & Jerry's. If I can't carry those values forward inside the company today, then I will carry them forward outside with all the love and conviction I can. Why is Ben staying?
I wasn't going to throw Ben under the bus. You know what I mean? Under that banana split bus or whatever they call it. But yeah, it is.
What are your thoughts?
I do agree with you that it was kind of silly for them to think that if they were bought by a giant corporation that's now trying to become the ice cream empire, that you were going to be able to stay independent. That is a white man who never thought they were going to come for them. I like Jerry. He seems to be on the right side, but once again, his privilege shows.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, it's like, hey, I'm a white man making ice cream. Ain't nobody coming for me. They came for the ice cream makers. They came for the ice cream makers, and you said nothing.
Nothing.
Now you get vanilla. That's all you get.
That's all you get.
That's all you get. Rocky Road, not in this world.
Nope. Oh,
and
chocolate.
It's also like Unilever. There's one thing I'll say. Like, it was the same thing with Target. Like, did you really think that we trained the people who, you know, come there that it's going to be good for business? You know, like once people started boycotting Target or Coca-Cola or anything like that, they lost money. Ben and Jerry is a staple, if you want to call it, of the left. Okay, that's the ice cream that you're like, oh, I love these dudes. They're always on the right side of history. Whatever, they're on sale. They're never on sale, but if they are, I'll pick up a few. You know what I mean? And it's just like, when this happens, are people really going to buy that ice cream? You just ruin the brand by not letting these guys be the dumb.
And I feel like, they probably just don't care, but it's fascinating how they just don't really think beyond themselves, like these corporations, right? But then again, that's just a part of it, of white supremacy. Like the lady who called the cops, or who called ICE on the plant in Georgia, she called them and she did a video about it. And then, of course, Korea was like, we're bringing our people back, because she didn't realize that the reason why all those Koreans were there was because the instructions were in Korean. To build the factory. And the reason I know this to be true is because my godfather, he was trying to start a juice factory in Grenada, and when all the factory parts arrived, they were in French.
So you needed French engineers to come over and build this for him.
He was like, no! So like, that's a real thing. And listen, now that plant, which was going to actually create 9,000 jobs, they're like, we're done. We're pulling out.
And that lady is now online, like crying.
Is she?
Like, because not only she thought at least this would be brownie points in the MAGA world, but Trump had to apologize, and he was begging these workers to stay, begging them. And Korea said no.
Because they had a deal with Korea.
And they had visas. The story was, and this is something for Latinos, which I mentioned before, this is how we keep getting used. That lady used a Spanish-speaking union worker to infiltrate and find out who there was working, unauthorized. And ICE went in there to pick up 4 Latinos. And when they realized, oh, this factory is full of Koreans, we hit the jackpot. They were using us to raid the place. And then they thought they hit the jackpot when they found all those Koreans. And that's when, that's why the government got them out. They're like, all our people have visas. You guys messed up. You listened to this one lady file a report, and look what it got you.
This is also what happens when you have an entire agency that has no rules.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They just go in there and do what they want, which brings us to our next topic, because, and I felt like, this would actually, be near and dear to you. ICE is abducting students from high schools here in New York City, y'all. And I want to play for you this video of the Brooklyn public city advocate, Jumaine Williams, who, by the way, is from Grenada. Take a listen.
Taking children now and high school students.
I really don't know how we're going to start the school year not having Mukhtar with us and with the fear of somebody else being abducted by ICE.
Mukhtar started at our school in September. Really nice young man, really polite young man, and a really hardworking young student. The newcomers really just appreciate the chance for an education. In a special way, they've really made the school sort of an incredible place to work.
This is not the first New York City public school student who has been taken. They're going after ordinary people trying to navigate their life here. He is someone who has followed the process.
He got a next court date from the judge, and the ICE agents who abducted him, who kept him in inhumane conditions at 26 Federal Plaza, who have shipped him to Pennsylvania, are willing to move our country toward lawlessness, toward authoritarianism.
This young man should be going to high school in a few weeks.
Mukhtar, we miss you. We want you to be back at school. I've seen a dozen teachers here, and we are thinking of you, and we are working and doing what we can. But we look forward to having you at school as soon as possible.
Talk to me.
It breaks my heart because I was that kid. I grew up an immigrant, working, my family working to get a status during that time, and going to those interviews as a kid. The world was never perfect when you're a kid. Sometimes you try to make it better than it is, but at least I remember growing up in New York City that I felt protected. That regardless of my status, I was still able to go to school.
What made you feel protected?
I was a kid, I was a child, but it was also being able to go to school. Like, I went to a public school that, wasn't the best, but it was better than what I came from. And I realized that, and I threw myself into my studies. I was a very smart kid from a jump.
You
And
better flex on us. You better flex on us.
yeah.
Don't get it twisted, y'all. I was very smart. I was very smart.
This is something actually I pride myself in. So when I get to the United States, my family goes, do you want to take ESL classes, English and Spanish, or do you want to take all English classes? And I was 6 years old, and I go, well, I'm here to learn English, so put me in English classes. And my sister chose ESL, nothing against her. My family goes, in 2 weeks, you were speaking English so well, you were making phone calls for us. And then from then on, whenever new kids from DR will come to the United States, all the parents will be like, you're not taking ESL classes, you're doing it like Che. He took English and he learned English in 2 weeks.
Not you messed it up. There's always an overachieving immigrant child messing it up for everybody else.
So that's what it was. You know, I threw myself into studies. I was able to get health insurance in New York City, you know, regardless. So, you know, I felt like that was on my side. You know, when I went to my hearings, it wasn't this kind of fear. Like I knew that my family was, you know, trying to go through the system and stuff like that.
Right.
So the fact that like I'm watching these kids just be brought to this country, and there's a sense that some parents still think that this is normal, that maybe it's being blown out of proportion or whatever, and they're finding the reality that the kids are not getting how fortunate I was to actually be able to grow up and, you know, get an education and give back to the community. I've given back way more, I promise you. I've given back in taxes and stuff like that, way more.
Of course.
And, you know what I mean? So
can you explain more to that? Like why? Because I don't think people understand that essentially, if you are an immigrant that comes to this country and you are trying to get status, you live as if you are a member of this country, but you don't have any legislative representation because you cannot vote. Is that correct?
Yeah, and essentially, like, people will be like, well, you went to public school when, you know, maybe your status wasn't, you know, up to par at that point. I was like, yeah, but we rented a home in the local community, so we paid the landlord and the landlord paid taxes. So we went to our local public schools. My family have always paid taxes. I got health insurance through whatever, but at 18, I became a nursing assistant. I did it during the pandemic. Like, I risked my life. You know, I didn't get sick like that. I got flu shots. I got rubella shots, and one time I thought maybe I had cancer and I got a checkup, turned out they were wrong. That's it. But that's like the most, like, I'm glad that at 17 I was able to get that screening and they knew that I was fine. So that was like the most I've ever spent, like, used healthcare. And then after that, from 18 on, paying my own taxes, working, contributing to my community, working as a nursing assistant during the pandemic. The way you villainize these kids is so horrible because they're just trying to get an education. They're just trying to figure themselves out. And I promise you, more times than not, these kids grow up to just be amazing people who give back to this country. There's stats that go, I think for every dollar you spend on an immigrant, they give back 100. So it's like, it's insane how much they give back. And this country they're ruining themselves by not realizing how much beauty there is in the people that come here and want to be better. They come here to want to be better, and you're robbing them of all that, especially these kids. And that's why, like, going after kids like this is just so mean. Seeing ICE leaving kids on the side of the road when they take their parents is so mean. Seeing them taking kids when they go to their court hearing is so evil.
Just really speaks to the evilness, right? Like, I don't understand how you can be completely devoid of just basic humanity in this way.
And you know, and it's a Black immigrant, you know what I mean? A lot of erasure in that too, where, you know, they treat Black immigrants, they treat, you know, trans immigrants like just horrible. Like, if you think Latinos are being treated bad, these stories are barely told because, you know, it's another erasure of like the Black community and the immigrant community.
Well, speaking of the Black community, you're really helping with these segues, by the way. If it's intentional, this speaks to, I was really good in school. I was really good in school. So y'all, we have to talk about Trey Reed, the young man who was found hanging from a tree on campus at the Delta State University in Mississippi. And I think one of the things that's come out of this that a lot of people are really like mind blown by is the immediacy for the police department to say there's been no signs of foul play. And they had a Black police officer say that. And in addition to this, though, And we'll talk about this later because our critical thinking exercise is around what is the power of media to influence the actions of its people, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a song that was put out by somebody who calls themselves the mayor of MAGA. And in this song, this person refers to lynching. And he literally, the guy, I forgot the guy's, his name is Forgiato Blow. And literally in the song, he's talking about a sundown town and how y'all better get out because we've got the rope to rope you up. And this is fine. So, you know, I'm trying to navigate because the emotions that come out of this, I feel are exactly what is being intended to try to start an even bigger like onslaught of violence.
Yeah. I'm glad you didn't play it because I actually played it. Like I watched some of it and I became nauseous. Like I'll be honest with you. Like, and that's the kind of reaction they want from you. They want to like, you know, give you this
rage bait.
Yeah. And I was like, I felt nauseous and horrible song. And I do have to point out something because you mentioned this in the beginning when you were like, oh, you know, maybe there's Latinos who think like, oh, well, this is a Black problem or whatever. It's not my problem. And we need to stop right there because this song is about lynching. And in it, they reference 3 white people who were murdered by Black or Latinos. So when they're talking about lynching, they're talking about lynching anybody who's not for MAGA. Of course, Black people being predominantly the people who face this kind of violence. But this song was about anybody who's against us, Latino, Black, against you. This will happen to you. And you need to be reminded that since the Civil War to the 50s and 60s, thousands of people were lynched, mostly Black people, but there were also Mexican Americans. There were also white people who stood with the cause who were lynched. So anybody who says, again, that this isn't my problem, that this song is just whatever, or, you know, it might just be referencing, no, it's referencing anybody who's against MAGA, and they should take it that way.
You know, Nia in the comments said something that's what I was insinuating, that the goal is to enact enough violence where the administration can call for martial law, and then they will not have to have elections. They will essentially be put in the place of a dictatorship. And that to me is something that a lot of Americans, I don't think, can consider like a real thing. I think it's just kind of like we're still seeing people, even because I think that the idea of Black violence, no matter what version it is still for a lot of Americans, a lot of USians, I should say, this like expected thing. The same way that they're like, yeah, of course immigrants are illegal. Like that it's like guilty until proven innocent versus what they think of themselves. And so they also apply that to the United States. Like the United States government for a lot of these folks is innocent until proven guilty. And I'm just like, you need to be applying the reverse because these people are not your friends.
And again, it's because this government has mostly protected white people, the white racists or whatever, and they feel like it's not coming for them. They still feel like it's not coming for them. And if anything that we learned from last week is that these MAGA people have their own civil war going on that they're not even acknowledging, and they're blaming us for it. They're blaming us for it. That's where the violence. I learned
about the word groiper. I've never heard this word before.
I learned so much on the internet that made me sad. That I don't even know. Maybe off air we could talk about some of this stuff. Okay. But I'm like, I didn't even know there was side of fascism that involved LGBTQ members. That I'm like, what?
Really?
That I'm like, well, I'm an ally, but not if y'all moving to fascism. No, not I'm saying
right.
You know,
The
deep you know, parts of the internet have alt-right people who, I'll tell you if I forget it. It's called Transmaxer. I went down a very deep rabbit hole.
Transmaxer?
I'm not trying to like, you know, bring any conspiracy theories. I looked up a lot into this.
Wait. We don't believe in conspiracy theories here. We believe in searching for the truth, which requires theorizing what conspiracy lies beneath.
Yeah. And just before I go any further, you know, I'm a big advocate of LGBTQ community. Like,
you don't have to do all that.
but I just want to know because I just want you to know because like it's apparently this. I don't know all the ideologies behind it, but essentially these incels, far right alt, deep in the internet, they hate women so much they can't talk to women. A lot of them are neurodivergent, but they're not diagnosed, but they're falling to the far right. So they have relationships with men that are not gay, but they can have them because it's within the confines of like we just experimented because like we can't trust women, so we gotta like be with each other. Sometimes transitioning just so they can like sort of like be with each other, and they believe like that they know what it's like to be a woman, and a woman is a submissive, hand-tie looking woman who just says yes to everything. And it's a world where femboys and trans have met fascism deep into the internet. And it's just so heartbreaking of everything that's happening. And it's just how, yeah, it was just heartbreaking to hear that, like, dang, dude, like it's crazy, the fascism and the trans that have merged in this deep world. And it's just, it still boggles my mind when I read about it.
My mind is boggled. Yeah, I'm in boggle mind mode right now.
This was crazy because the fascism is just, it's so in everything that there's even deeper worlds that it's infiltrated that we're not even like, because we're surface, and they're deep internet with these ideologies that allow all these things that people on the left, like, we want to be able to be openly gay. And if somebody wants to transition, they should be allowed to. And, as long as, the person understands who they are. But no, these fascists are like, no, we're doing it out of spite. And it's just like, wait, what is happening?
I mean, that's a level of mental gymnastics that I genuinely didn't know existed.
Exactly.
Wow.
Trans maxers are fascist trans people. You should look it up. They have a manifesto. Only men can do it, women, because they also believe that women have it easier in society. So by transitioning, they don't have to work like 70-hour work weeks. It's all it's this hatred towards women where they believe they can do it better.
The first thing that the Third Reich did was to burn all the studies that were being done on trans people. Wow. Because there was actually like active work being done on trans folks, like in a positive way, to my knowledge. And that was the first thing they did. They actually came for the trans folks first.
Yeah. And
then the communists.
Yeah.
Man. Well, where can we see you tell some jokes?
Well, you can follow me at Che Guerrero ENG. We're mixed people. We're like politics, and then we got to joke about it.
Somebody said like I saw a comic, a Mexican comic. Was he Mexican? I think he was, but he told a joke where he was like, I saw there was a joke. He was like, when Eddie Murphy saw Chris Rock for the first time, he was a young guy and he said, man, this guy's really going to make it. So he made a call. He called an agent. Next thing you know, Chris Rock was signed to CAA and he was on his way. He was like, I want to be that kind of leader too. And so I saw this Mexican comic and he was really amazing and he was doing his thing. And I said, wow, that guy, he's really going to go to the top. So I called an agent and he was taken away by ICE because I can't have that kind of competition.
That is the damn. Unfortunately, I hate that joke, but that joke is true though. I hate, but it's true. Oh my God.
Too soon. I was like, there's no such thing for a comic. It's literally like who can get to the joke first.
Yeah.
So,
oh my gosh, yeah.
Well, Che, tell people again where they can find you.
Yeah, follow me at Che Guerrero ENG on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Substack now. And I'll be putting dates up soon of, when I'm performing. So you can check all that out there. Thank you so much for really having me. It's always fun to talk to you.
Always a blast. And keep doing what you're doing, because the fact that you do the bilingual stories, and I think that's like super duper special and important. And make sure you all go and follow Che on the Instagrams and check him out when he is in a city near you telling the jokes.
Bye everybody. Bye world.